with coverage you can count on. This is WNEMTV5 News.
Right now, the Omicron variant popping up in several states across the country.
We're going to fight this variant with science and speed, not chaos and confusion.
The new strategy from the White House to curb the pandemic. Plus, we're learning more about the events leading up to the school shooting at Oxford High School. We'll have the latest from the investigation. And the Michigan Wolverines are gearing up for the Big Ten championship.
If we can get through this, we can get to the national championship with no problem.
A look at how the city of Indianapolis is preparing to host the big championship game. It's time to wake up Mid-Michigan. It's Friday, December 3rd.
All right, good morning, everyone. Happy Friday. They're eager for the big game tomorrow.
Yes, the Wolverines are always eager, ready to go. Go blue.
Yes,
yeah.
That's right. We got our maize and blue on. Well, at least you do.
Yes, I do.
Thanks so much for waking up with us. I'm Blake Keller.
I'm Colette Stinger. Happy Friday. We are so thrilled that you are jump-starting your day with us. Chris is tracking the forecast. So what's on tap for the morning drive, Chris?
Nothing too crazy. It looks like a pretty smooth commute as we wrap up the work week. Much cooler, though. Yesterday, waking up in the mid to upper 40s in some spots. Today, about 10 to 15 degrees cooler than that. Our temperatures this morning in the low to mid 30s, 34 in Saginaw, 32 in Flint, 34 in Owasso, and 32 in Mount Pleasant, Alma, and Clare. We've got 30 in Houghton Lake, 30 in Oscoda, and here's a look at that perspective compared to 24 hours ago. A lot of places pushing 15 degrees cooler, so it will be a change you notice, and our wind chills occasionally dropping into the 20s too. But thankfully, that wind, as our temperatures have cooled off, is starting to die down a little bit. Still a bit strong in Port Hope at about 14 miles per hour, but only about 3 to 5 miles per hour elsewhere, and that northwesterly flow will eventually turn southerly and southwesterly later today. Your first 1.5 pinpoint Doppler radar live from MBS does show a little light snow showing up, but this looks a lot worse than it actually is. Only expecting this to impact just a few locations around mid-Michigan as this system passes through. Much of it on the west side of the state, not even reaching the ground in every single spot too. So it's going to be pretty light as it passes on by. Wouldn't expect any significant accumulation. If you're in Gratiot or Shiawassee counties, you may see a little bit of light snow this morning, but otherwise that's about it. Our temperatures headed towards the mid to upper 30s later today. Your live on time traffic map looks good, so no major issues here. Anything changes, we'll let you know.
Okay, thank you, Chris, for that update. Well, at least 5 states are reporting COVID-19 cases of the new Omicron variant.
As the new strain begins to take hold, the White House is unveiling new measures to try to slow a winter uptick in cases. Bradley Blackburn explains.
New York recorded 5 confirmed cases of the Omicron COVID variant yesterday. So far, the most of any state.
While this may be highly transmissible, at least from the early evidence, and again, more information is still forthcoming, we want people to know that the early cases that have arisen are not life-threatening. They seem to be minor cases.
Minnesota, Colorado, and Hawaii also reported Omicron cases yesterday. President Biden unveiled new strategies to curb the pandemic.
Experts say the COVID-19 cases will continue to rise in the weeks ahead in this winter. So we need to be ready.
Starting Monday, travelers entering the country will have to be tested for COVID within a day of their arrival. The rule applies to everyone, including vaccinated American citizens.
We're going to fight this variant with science and speed, not chaos and confusion.
The president also extended the requirement that masks be worn on public transportation and said insurance companies would cover the costs of at-home tests.
It's probably already more widely spread than our early determinations have indicated.
But while the world braces for what Omicron may do, the Delta variant remains the dominant strain in the U.S.
Your strategy is the same whether or not you're fighting Omicron or fighting Delta. The answer is vaccines, vaccines, and vaccines.
To date, a little more than 63% of the eligible population is fully vaccinated. So far, only 23% of those eligible have gotten a booster dose. Bradley Blackburn, CBS News, New York.
Developing this morning, Congress is dodging a government shutdown after both chambers passed a stopgap bill to extend funding through mid-February. The Senate passed the bill 69 to 28. Earlier Thursday, the House passed a continuing resolution for the funding. It now goes to the president, and he's expected to sign it. The bill's passage came ahead of a Friday deadline and ended a standoff that threatened to trigger a shutdown. Congress now has more time to work out a long-term funding plan for the entire fiscal year. Well, still unfolding this morning, the Michigan House approves a sweeping plan to support public safety.
This comes just 2 days after the mass shooting at Oxford High School. The legislation includes more than $360 million to help first responders with recruitment efforts, community outreach, and equipment upgrades. State Representative Gary Howell says it's necessary to keep schools safe during active shooter situations.
I was gratified once I found out how effective the resource officer had been in disarming the shooter, neutralizing him. He still had bullets in the magazine and the gun. So if the officer had not done that, I don't know how many more people might have been killed or wounded.
This amendment would make voluntary grants available to school districts that want to have a school resource officer.
And adding this amendment became personal for Howell. His son is a teacher at Oxford High School and says he, like many parents, had an agonizing wait to find out if his son was okay.
It was probably the longest moment of my life while I waited for my son John to be able to text me to tell me he was okay. I didn't know for about an hour because obviously he was preoccupied with barring the classroom door, controlling the students, and then evacuating the students.
So glad to hear that his son's doing well. And Howell adds that he is grateful to the school resource officer who protected his son and the students. The bill now heads to the Senate for approval.
More local news. A mother will appear in court today. Shalonda Finch faces charges after her 4-year-old was accidentally shot at a Saginaw home. Back in July, police responded to a shooting at a home on Hampshire Street. According to the prosecutor's office, Finch had left the home to go to the store when an 8-year-old accidentally shot the 4-year-old. She's charged with 1 count of second-degree child abuse.
Indianapolis police are asking for assistance locating a missing 24-year-old. Right there on your screen. Detectives believe she may have traveled to the Flint area. Nikayla Williams was last seen Monday getting into a loud white truck. Now, Williams' family is reporting that this is very unusual. She's 5'3" and 175 pounds with black hair and brown eyes. Police would also like to speak with Beston Hoyle, who may have information about Nikayla's whereabouts. If you've seen these two, please call 911 immediately.
Across Michigan, the state Senate unanimously approved $3.3 billion in water infrastructure spending. It will help replace lead pipes and repair dams statewide, while also sending money to a Detroit area system that has struggled with flooding. The influx of aid will next be considered by the House, likely in the new year. Michigan has an estimated 460,000 lead pipes.
Well, the new year is bringing a higher minimum wage to Michigan, effective January 1st, 2022. The minimum wage will increase to $9.87 an hour. The 85% rate for minors ages 16 and 17 will go up to $8.39. And tipped employees' rate will increase to $3.75 an hour. The change comes as part of the Improved Workforce Opportunity Wage Act of 2018. Happening today, Saginaw County Public Health is hosting a walk-in vaccine clinic. It's at the Dow Event Center. It's from 9 until noon. Anyone 5 and older can receive their first or second dose, and adults can get their booster shot.
And if you're looking to spread some Christmas cheer, state police troopers across the region will be collecting new unwrapped toys or gifts to help children in need. The Flint Post will be collecting toys at the Elga Credit Union in Burton, Flushing, and Lapeer, and at Walmart in Owasso from 8 to 6. The Caro Post will be collecting donations along with the Thumb Area Mud Runners from 10 to 4 at the Caro Walmart. Bay Region troopers will be stationed at Neiman's Family Market in Tawas City to collect donations from 10 to 5.
Happy Friday, friends. Hope you're waking up refreshed and ready for a brand new day. TV5 News Time. It's about 6:09.
Mid-Michigan schools receiving threats following the Oxford High School shooting. One teen now facing charges. Those details ahead.
And check this out. $600,000 disappeared only to be found 7 years later. More in this investigation after the break.
With coverage you can count on, this is WNEMTV5 News.
A mid-Michigan teen faces charges after officials say she threatened to shoot up a local school. This comes on the heels of the Oxford school shooting. how much time she could be facing if found guilty. That's coming up.
Yeah, but first, let's check on our Friday and weekend forecast. Chris is here, so how's everything looking so far, Chris?
Not too bad. It looks like we'll be off to a cooler start, that's for sure. Low to mid-30s out the door this morning, but overall, we expect to be in this general range as we work through the month of December, so that shouldn't be too much of a shock. It's just nice to have those mid-40s yesterday in many spots, giving us a little bit of a break, but back down this morning at about 10 to 15 degrees cooler in many spots compared to 24 hours ago. Your wind chills in the 20s and 30s as well, so not too much different from what we saw earlier this week, so we should be able to plan for that. And our winds generally lightening up this morning, only about 5 to 10 miles per hour right now, and they'll flip around to more of a southwesterly direction later today and stay about 5 miles per hour. Your first 1.5 pinpoint Doppler radar live from MBS shows a little light snow passing through the region. Not much of this is actually reaching the ground. A little bit better opportunity for that on the west side of the state. If you are seeing that snow hit the ground in areas that don't have a reporting site, it is likely very light, and I don't anticipate too many issues for the morning drive. Your first 1.5 Sky Tracker shows the general path of that system, so if you're in the northern thumb and our counties north of the Tri-Cities, you should be just fine and really don't have a chance at all. And as we work through the rest of the day, it looks like flurries at best with just a minor chance of precipitation, mid to upper 30s, and mostly cloudy skies. We'll take a look at that weekend forecast coming up. Your live on-time traffic map has no issues, so we like that. And we'll revisit that Sunday storm system coming up in a few minutes, too.
Thank you for that update, Chris. A 17-year-old female student at Flint Southwestern Classical Academy faces charges after the Genesee County prosecutor says she threatened to shoot up the school.
She's been charged with 1 false threat of terrorism and 1 count of using a computer to commit a crime, each a 20-year felony. The school's assistant principal notified police of the threat after the student recorded a rap on her phone referencing shooting up the school, quote, like Oxford.
We take these very serious because even if you have no means to carry it out, when you make an act of threat in today's world, there's a consequence for that. Even if you're a juvenile or if you're over 17, if you threaten to act violently, there is no tolerance.
That's Genesee County Sheriff Chris Swanson. Now, he says his department has been overwhelmed with reported threats after the Oxford school shooting, and they are investigating every one. Swanson says it does not matter how or where you make the threat.
Even if you tell it to somebody, if it is interpreted, if it's perceived as though you made an active threat, that you're going to be held accountable. And that's part of our case. So it doesn't matter what platform or what means that threat is given. We use that and we hold people accountable.
As a precaution, the 21 local school district superintendents in Genesee County have closed schools today over a large amount of social media threats or rumors, raising anxiety for many students, staff, and parents in those districts.
That's right. School leaders are working with law enforcement to determine the credibility of each threat. Genesee County Prosecutor David Layton suggests that you show your children our report about the serious consequences of making threats. You can find it on the homepage of WNEM.com.
In addition to the Genesee County school closures, all Bay City public schools are closed today as well after a threat was made online. Administrators believe the threat is not credible, but schools will be closed out of an abundance of caution. Additionally, all schools in Tuscola County will be closed as well. Any other schools or districts closed today, they are scrolling at the bottom of your screen, but you can also find them on our website.
The parents of the 15-year-old boy accused of shooting and killing 4 fellow students at Oxford High School could soon be facing criminal charges. Nancy Chen reports on the warning signs.
We hear something that sounds like someone being punched against a locker, and we heard at least 6 more gunshots followed by screaming.
As the attack unfolded, Oxford High School senior Catalina Ivkovitz credits her math teacher for springing into action.
The shooter was right outside our classroom. He was able to shut the door immediately and get us all in the lockdown mode. He saved all of us.
After police evacuated her class, what she saw stunned her.
There were silver bullet shells all over the floor in the hall.
Prosecutors say 15-year-old Ethan Crumbly used a semi-automatic handgun purchased by his father just days earlier in Tuesday's rampage. 4 students were killed and 7 other people were injured.
Sir, do you understand all the charges against you?
Yes, I do.
Crumbly is now in a county jail, charged with 24 felony counts, including terrorism and first-degree murder.
It's a clear intent to execute a school shooting.
and kill students.
Oakland County Prosecutor Karen McDonald told us she wants to hold anyone who could have prevented the shooting accountable.
You had also mentioned the possibility of charging Crumbley's parents. Where does that stand right now? We are actively considering and investigating. And what could those potential charges look like? It went far beyond just a negligent parent.
Investigators say the day before the shooting, Crumbley made videos about killing students. And just hours beforehand, he and his parents met with school officials about behavioral problems.
Now tonight, there is a vigil plan to honor the lives impacted by the Oxford school shooting. Organizers say they expect the gathering to draw a massive crowd and welcome anyone to share in their pain and anxiety. It starts at 7 in the heart of downtown Oxford.
The Oakland County Sheriff gave an update on the status of the 7 other victims injured in that shooting. 4 have been discharged from the hospital and 3 others are doing okay.
Attorney General Dana Nessel warns of fundraising scams in the wake of the Oxford High School shooting. Now, she recommends that you consider the following questions before donating. Is it someone you know? Is it someone you trust? Does the amount of money being raised seem reasonable, or is it excessive? If you'd like to file a consumer complaint, head on over to the hot link section of WNEM.com.
More local news. A man accused of killing 2 people in Flint is headed back to court today. Michael Mayfield is scheduled for a pretrial hearing. Prosecutors say Mayfield killed Brandon Williams and Tashiana Jones near Ballinger Highway and Beecher Road in September last year.
Michigan announced that 9 state organizations have received a combined $54.5 million to help families pay for heat and energy this winter. Some of the recipients include the Heat and Warmth Fund and the Salvation Army. Families who qualify for assistance can cover full or partial payment. If you don't think you'll be able to pay your bill on time, contact your utility as soon as possible, or you can call 211 for assistance. Now, last year, this program helped over 52,000 households.
Like many other places around the country, the village of Sanford is gearing up for its Christmas celebration. Today, the village hosts Sanford Shines, unveiling around 80 new Christmas trees in Porty Park. There will be games, crafts, a singing Santa, and much more. Kids of all ages can also leave their letters to Santa. The fun starts at 3 p.m. and at 6. The light parade will begin by unveiling all the festive decorations.
Sounds like a lot of fun. Happy Friday. We made it. TV5 News Time about 6:38.
Well, states reporting COVID-19 cases of the new Omicron variant. What the White House is planning to slow the spread. We'll be right back.